You are listening to the Red Leaf Retrocast, gaming, anime, and wrestling. Your best location to learn, remember, and relive the past to the present. We watch old and seasonal anime, play old and new video games, and watch all the wrestling we can. You are listening to the Wrestling Cast episode, and I hope you enjoy. Alright, boys and girls, it is the Red Leaf Retrocast, WrestleCast edition. So glad you're all here. So glad you're here. I'm your host, JD, going solo yet again, as I do to get the most wrestling out to you as I possibly can, because I just love the shit out of it. And I want to bring all of the viewers and listeners out there that love wrestling, give them a little education, give them a taste of everything the world has to offer. So, this is episode 26. We got a lot more of the indie stuff that we really have never covered on this cast before. And being that it was a slower 2 weeks, I was able to dive very deep into just wrestling from all over the world. And being that the rest of the month, it may be some lifestyle choices I'm making. I just really wanted to see what the world had to offer for this one. So, without further ado, little housekeeping. We are running a contest going on right now, where you can win a gift card for High Dive. It's an anime streaming service. We'll announce the winner shortly before the new spring season starts, so if you're an anime fan, and you're asking yourself, well, how can I enter this thing? Well, if you're a new listener, or if you haven't left an iTunes review of the podcast yet, just go on over there, take a screenshot of your little review, send it over email-wise, email's in the description, or just hit me up on Twitter at BowlingJD, Redleaf Retrocast, use the hashtag, you can do that. Now, if you've already left an iTunes review, then all you have to do is screenshot your review. I know who's who and who left them. And subscribe to the podcast on any outlet. Just prove that. And being a loyal listener, it's just going to be just much easier for you to enter. So yeah, High Dive gift card, anime fans, and the like. So there you go. And let's get on with the show, because we're going to cover like 14 promotions. I got a lot to talk about. Here we go. All right, I am happy, very happy, to finally talk about this promotion, and it's Fight Club Pro. I wanted to talk about it in the last podcast, but I just didn't have the time to get to the shows I wanted to watch from Fight Club Pro. They just started a streaming service over on Vimeo, and I was ecstatic to learn this. They just started the beginning of February, and they've had 2 shows, approaching on the 3rd very rapidly so far in 2019. The first one was a show in January called Project Tokyo, where Fight Club Pro went over to Japan, and it was kind of a hodgepodge of Sendai Girls, a little bit of Dragon Gate. They had a guy from Big Japan show up, so it was a lot of the UK wrestlers. And for those that don't know, Fight Club Pro is a promotion Trent Seven started years and years ago. It's one of the more established UK indie promotions out there. But they've never had a streaming service, and they just started, so this is great. So Project Tokyo occurred, and I know a little bit about Fight Club Pro. I didn't know much about what it was truly about, and in a lot of ways it reminds me of Revolution Pro. However, there's differences. Camera works better, audio quality is much better. They don't have commentary, so you don't have to worry about bad commentary or them topping out the mic. And it's a lot of the same wrestlers. However, one big key difference is there is a major heel faction within Fight Club Pro, and they're called Schadenfreude. And yes, that is German, and of course that tickles my fancy right away. It translates to so Schaden is like too bad, Schade, or something on the negative, and then Freude is translates to like joy, happiness. So if you put it together, it's like taking joy out of someone's misfortune. So that's the I think the literal translation is malicious joy. There you go. But you can use Schadenfreude in a number of ways. Anyways, that's the name. It is a group that consists of a lot of the NXT it's a lot of the guys steeped in the UK indie scene and the Euro indie scene that have some name value that weren't signed by NXT UK. That's my understanding of it. So you got Aussie Open, CCK, Ringkampf, like Walter and Thatcher. We'll get to Walter later. Lucky Kid from over in WXW. So in some way, it's kind of like an invading WXW group at the same time. The story here is Chris Brooks really wants Meiko Satomura's title at any cost. Chris Brooks, I love the guy. I'm a big fan. He's a tall, lanky dude. He puts on. He's the member of CCK as well. Oh yeah, Kid Lycos is part of the group, but he got injured shortly after the show at a Progress event. But Meiko Satomura is the champion in Fight Club Pro. They have the main title and tag titles. That's it. It's very, very simple. And Meiko Satomura has held this title for some time now. And Chris Brooks wants this thing for his group, for Schadenfreude, at any cost. So just lots of good crossover wrestling matches on the show, from Sendai, and even a real good tag match as CCK lost to the tandem of Meiko Satomura and the special appearance Akira Tozawa. Yes, it's that same one that's featured on 205 Live. He's also from Dragon Gate. Tozawa just looked super pumped. The crowd absolutely loved him. He was twice the wrestler I'd ever seen him in WWE. It was great. It was really nice to see Tozawa get the spotlight. Meiko was the fighting champ. She wasn't taking any shit from the men. And the main event was a nonsense light tube death match in which Jimmy Havoc won. It was just absolute chaos. Tanaka from Big Japan was in it. Ricky Shane Page and Drew Parker for Progress. So Havoc and Drew Parker have some history there. So just chaotic. The whole show was just straight fun. It was just, a lot of the crossover matches. It was actually a fun tag team match from Sendai of Beauty Bear. That's Iwata and I can't remember the more short bodybuilder girl's name right now. I have it written down when we get later to Sendai Girls itself. They took on Millie McKenzie and Dash Chisako. Dash Chisako looked really good in this match, I must say. But needless to say, their February 3rd show was even better. It was titled Wrestle House 19. I adored this show. There's something about Fight Club Pro where they know exactly what to do. They put on just amazing matches. They give everyone the proper amount of time. The crowd is outstanding. It's much more full than a lot of other, even bigger than the Progress crowds, but this was in a much deeper arena kind of deal. Everyone's super over in their own right. The Schadenfreude group is super hated with the shit they do and say. It's the right heat involved. Every heel in the promotion is part of Schadenfreude. There you go. And that plays into how the card was mostly built. I'm gonna skip a couple matches here. Schadenfreude. 6-man tag to start off here. I'm skipping the opening match. It wasn't that was the only one that I just didn't care for. Schadenfreude was Chris Brooks, Timothy Thatcher, and Lucky Kid versus Team Fight Club Pro, which consisted of Travis Banks, Jordan Devlin, and Dan Maloney. And I absolutely got a kick out of this opening promo from Lucky Kid said a few words, Banks and Devlin said some things, but the takeaway was definitely Chris Brooks gets the mic and he calls Team Fight Club Pro, Banks, Devlin, Maloney. He goes, they are Triple H's farm projects and representing WWF. It was quite a good jab. The crowd, everyone got a good smile at it, you could tell. Banks then starts doing the overdramatic DX suck it to Brooks, and Brooks goes, yeah, that's pretty cute. How did your takeover match go? And Banks and Devlin just fall to the ground. Devlin immediately bails upon hearing that and goes up the ramp. And he's like, no, don't mention me, because we all know what happened. Then Brooks gets in Dan Maloney's face and he goes, you're so irrelevant. Everyone, half this audience doesn't even know that you were already released by NXT UK. So it was really good. Chris Brooks did some good jabs there. Match was fun. Chris Brooks ends up getting the pin for the win for Schadenfreude. Millie McKenzie had a singles match against you, the visiting Josie girl. It was fine. She gets jumped post-match, setting a match up with this just beefy-looking mean girl. I didn't get her name. But the point is, she came out, when she jumped Millie McKenzie, she came out with the turnbuckle hook, put it in her mouth, and yanked hard. So it's like, oh. She's coming for that junior Sendai title that Millie McKenzie has. That's what it looks like. So that's pretty cool. It was better than the match itself. The match of the night was Will Ospreay taking on Kyle Fletcher, also part of Schadenfreude. Easily the match of the night. Highly recommend. It just really gets Fletcher over. Ospreay has great character work. They did some great spots. Excellent. Ospreay, I think this is when Ospreay broke his toe, or it was part of it. There's something about Fletcher when he's in these types of singles matches. Like last year, he was in one against Jay White, in which that was his breakout singles match as far as I'm concerned. And now he's had this amazing match with Will Ospreay. Definitely go out of your way to check this out. There was a Fatal 4-Way in which Shigeru Irie, still putting in that work, he won against the opponents of El Phantasmo, who's on his way to Bullet Club in New Japan right now. Mike Bailey, the Canadian Kung Fu guy, and Shane Strickland. So 2 Canadians, an American, and a Japanese guy. There you go. It almost sounds like a joke in the making. Really fun tag match of the Hunter brothers. They retain their tag titles, Fight Club Pro tag titles, against Team White Wolf. That's Ramos and A-Kid from the Spain promotion. I don't know. There's something about Team White Wolf I just enjoy watching. Yeah, they're a little rough around the edges still. Ramos, for sure. I've seen the Hunter brothers before a few times. I'm pretty sure I saw them in OTT and definitely saw them in Defiant. I definitely, maybe, possibly. I have seen them before. There was a little botch at the end of the match though, and then they had to repeat the spot. I didn't like that, but that was kind of picking at straws there. And finally, the main event of the February 3rd show here is Mark Davis taking on fellow Schadenfreude member Walter. All of Schadenfreude is in the ring. Chris Brooks gets in Walter's face and he tells him to lay down to Mark Davis, Dunkzilla, because it's the least he can do after selling out, because now he's in NXT UK. You can't be in Schadenfreude if you're part of NXT. Walter refuses because he's fucking awesome. And Davis goes over pretty clean in the end. All of Schadenfreude hit the ring. Thatcher kind of goes, you know what, he lost. Everyone kind of clear out, I got him. They do the ring conf poses, and then out of nowhere, Thatcher puts Walter in the sleeper hold and chokes him out. And then immediately, all of Schadenfreude come out with a table in tow. They do a quadruple power bomb, shield-esque, you might say, through the table. Not Thatcher. Brooks gets the mic again, and he goes, You couldn't get the job done against Mako. You sold out. He's out of the group. Forget it. So, we got Mark Davis at the next show in March here, against Dunkzilla Mark Davis, which should be good. I really like Fight Club Pro. If I find myself having some extra time, this is definitely a promotion I'm going to be keeping my eye on the future, since I did pretty much drop Rev Pro. But with OTT, you know, time's getting slim. I got to start picking and choosing here. Well, moving on. Hey, Mark, as I timestamp this shit. Oh, my ink pen is running out. Come on, ink. There we go. Okay. So the next promotion was recommended. If you remember a couple podcast episodes ago, I had my buddy from the B Plus podcast over here, Greg Unchained. He recommended to me a little promotion called Riot City Wrestling. They're out of Adelaide, Australia. And it's free on YouTube. You can look them up, Riot City Wrestling. And they just had a show go up on YouTube. And this is what I'll just run through some of them. The undercard was very underwhelming. It's very skippable. Now, once you get out of that undercard, so halfway through the show, they have the RCW heavyweight title match. And then from that on to the main event, to the tag titles, that was the main event. I quite enjoyed it. And I do I have been looking for a nice little promotion. I like keeping the countries separate, getting different culture, new guys cropping up, and RCW, unlike World Series Wrestling, World Series Wrestling has a lot of non-Australians in the promotion a lot of the time. Robbie Eagle's champion currently. I think he is, to my knowledge. He still is. But RCW is basically all Australians, all local guys. So this is very cool to see. And I was not disappointed with the from the middle to the main event. So here we go. The champion, Zach Sabbath. He's got this. How do I describe this gimmick? He has got I think they call him like the Dark Prince or something, or it's something like wizardy and dark and emo kind of deal. He's got a hot little woman on his shoulder. She's called Selena. Well, he's against Chris Basso. Pretty good, entertaining match here. I liked both guys. I liked what I saw. The finish was a bit odd with the 3 pile drivers from Sabbath. Something looked like it was miscommunicated between them and the ref. Regardless, he retains. And then the newly signed Adam Cole lookalike, I swear he does. His name's Matt Hayter. He comes out and he wants the title. Zach Sabbath goes, well, who the fuck are you? No one knows you here. And it's like, oh, okay, good point. And Matt Hayter goes, you know what? You're right. And what matters is the first impression. Well, how does he leave his first impression? He super kicks Sabbath's manager, Selena, and then bails immediately. So nice. Got me immediately interested, and I'm a new viewer. So there you go. Good stuff. Followed by a tag match. Tag team tandem of, they're called Gods and Monsters. It's Brody Marshall and Grimm with Miki Fortune, who's kind of a hype man, I guess, versus the Rude Ones, Bulldog McKenzie and Marvel. This was not very good. And I base that because it was billed as a grudge match, you know, and they looked like they hated each other. And then it just was a regular tag match. It was very sloppy. I do like the gimmicks of the guys involved. It definitely fell flat. The crowd was right there with me. Followed by a Key to the City match. This is basically I guess the person who had the key to the city. Think of it like I guess a Money in the Bank is what I was understanding. You have to cash in your title shot with the key to the city within 6 months. So WWE, it's a year with the Money in the Bank. Most places it's a year. In RCW, Riot City Wrestling, it's 6 months. Well, I guess the guy got injured and it was a horrid injury and he had to retire. So then now we have this match, and it's Adam Brooks versus Rocky Monero. And I haven't seen Adam Brooks in quite some time. I like Adam Brooks. He's got a little pompous attitude to him, but he's a solid wrestler. Unfortunately, I wasn't too impressed by this veteran match, especially from Monero. He really brought it down for me. Monero looked sloppy, off pace. Adam Brooks looked like he was trying way too hard, way too much, way too fast. So he fell off. Monero wasn't able to keep up. The chemistry wasn't there. You know, sometimes it just doesn't work out. However, what saved it was the finish. And I really liked it. So Adam Brooks does a top rope double knees. And he lands wrong, and he feigns blowing it out, essentially. And he thinks he can perhaps finish the match quick. You know, you can kind of see it in his face. So he immediately tries to go for a suplex, and he just couldn't do it. His knees buckle. Monero then just simply rolls him up. Big goofy smile on his face. So that really sold me. That was a very good finish. So Monero has the title shot. There you go. So the guy didn't want to win, basically, but hey, each his own. Tag title match, main event. The team of the Pariah, Eli Thesis and Gabriel Eros, champions, versus the heel team, the Armstrongs, Jet and Nick Armstrong. Good looks overall here. Pariah they're a high flying team, and the Armstrongs are, you know, your typical heels. In a lot of ways, they reminded me of the Revival. It was very fast paced. It was fun, completely void of ring psychology. It's just hit your spots, hit your move. It in a lot of ways reminded me of a luchador tag match, but the Armstrongs were throwing in kind of your Western, you know, American heel tactics. You know, ref knocks down, low blows, title pull the ref out of the ring during count. It was a super fun main event, regardless. So RCW, I'm going to be keeping my eye on this when there's matches that go up on YouTube. Probably going to be talking about it in the future. So thank you, Greg Unchained from the B Plus podcast. Go hit them up. Go hit them up on Twitter at the B Plus, and thank them for Riot City Wrestling, available on YouTube. Move on to what is with this pen today. Let's move on to the next promotion of discussion. This one's going to be much quicker. I have brought up this promotion on the cast before, so hey, we're 2 for 3 for new ones here. It's the German Wrestling Federation, GWF. They had their Light Heavyweight World Cup. I watched it last year, and Helico won, you know, the guy who's half man, half amazing. And in fact, just at the previous show, he cashed in that win to win the Berlin title. And that was in January. So Berlin title is the mid-card title in GWF here. So in between time of covering GWF here, Tarkan Aslan, of all people, from WXW, he's kind of a big deal in GWF. Well, he's won the main title. And he had a defense here against a guy by the name of Orlando Silver. Seen him before. Aslan retains. There you go. There was a light heavyweight 4-way elimination finals match. So they have like a King of the Ring. What the light heavyweight World Cup is basically they have a King of the Ring stipulation. However, when it gets to the final 4, they have an elimination match between the 4 of them. So it's a fatal 4-way elimination. So last man standing wins. It ends with El Phantasmo first pinning A-Kid. Then he pinned Chem Kaplan, and finally he pins last year's winner, Angelico. So Angelico couldn't get the job done for a second year in a row. Really enjoyed the dynamic between the 4 guys. So as a side note, I really do like the Turkish wrestlers and stables, what GWF does here. I wish WXW would embrace more of the Turkish culture and wrestlers into the promotion. Considering how big the Turkish culture and the people are in Germany, the impact. So, you know, Cem Kaplan is that Turkish guy. He's got his group. He's a big dude, menacing. Crowd hates him. It's a lot of heat. He plays the heel. So if there's one thing that GWF does better than WXW, it is definitely that aspect of it all. So regardless, we got Aslan as the champion, and Helico's the Berlin title holder, and now ELP is your light heavyweight World Cup champion. Pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. And speaking of hitting on some indie scenes that you're probably not aware of, WXW, to everyone's knowledge, or at least I'm going to drop it on you, WXW now is becoming kind of the Euro indie video hub. And new promotion essentially has started up in the Czech Republic, of all places. And it's called Art of Wrestling. I believe they've only had 4 shows to date and are a year old. Technically, it's existed for 10 years, but they haven't had a lot of shows. I wasn't able to confirm it. All I know is that via like sites like Cage Match and any other research, even on the site, I can only find 4 shows. So I watched their January 2018 show from last year, and then I watched up till the October show. So it's a Golden City Showdown. The October show was called Art of Wrestling 10. So I guess it was kind of celebrating 10 years of it existing. But so they're gearing up to crown their first ever champions. So much of the roster is made up of basically the undercard German indie scene. So and local talent. So guys like Lawrence Roman, who can barely get on a card in WXW and GWF, he's a big deal here, because I believe I think Lawrence Roman's the German Hurricane champion, and the Arrows of Hungary are like really over as well. There was one guy that stood out to me on these, at least on the first show, was Franz Engel. I hope to see more of the guy, but I think he's been injured since the summer of last year. Marcus Mitra is from Slovakia. He seems to be their big homegrown talent, from what I could tell. He was in an opening match. He won quite convincingly, and then I believe he has a main event push within the promotion. You can kind of just tell these things. So we'll see how Art of Wrestling grows. The champion tournament was held January 2019. So when that goes up, I'm at least going to find out who the champion is, who's going to be pushed in that position. I know Bad Bones John Klinger, who's also part of GWF. Not WXW anymore. I guess they had a falling out. Still nothing, but he was in Art of Wrestling. He was on AOW 10, so see where this Czech Republic show goes. Promotion. It's got a lot of room to grow. The wrestling's a bit rough. It's a lot of the undercard guys. It's a place to see the even more German indie wrestlers. So there's that. Moving right along. So we got Sendai Girls, another February show to cover here. Very happy. Sendai Girls is definitely coming. It's growing on me. Not as much. It hasn't reached that Ice Ribbon level. It's definitely not going to reach that Stardom level, I don't think. I'm going to have to start seeing some more shine to this, you might say. So, Hikaru Shida, still the Oz Openweight champion. That's another women's promotion in Japan. She was facing off against Dash Chisako. I mentioned her earlier on the cast from the Project Tokyo Fight Club Pro show. They had a 19-minute match. It was basically a TLC match. Kind of like in Ice Ribbon when Shida faced off against Risa Sera. They had their kind of thing going on, their rivalry. There were 2 table spots where, of course, it didn't break. Why would it break? Tables never break. Few nasty looking bumps all around. Some things just look stiff as shit with ladder shots and, of course, bouncing off the table twice. Shida wins. She goes over as she should. She just she looks really smooth in everything she does. What held this back match for me was the fact that Dash Chisako just doesn't sell. She just looks like she's going through the motions just to hit her moves, do these spots, and that was it. So it was nothing like what I saw when Shida took on Risa Sera in a very similar match. It's very one-sided with Shida selling and doing a lot of the maneuvers and trying to tell a story here, while Dash Chisako was just kind of not having it. And my main takeaway was the tag team title match of Beauty Bear, mentioned them earlier, which is Chihiro Hashimoto, she's the bodybuilder, shorter type, and Mika Iwata. These two are, like, if they aren't channeling their inner Crush Gals or anything like that, from the old All Japan women days, I don't know what's going on. They took on the very high profile name of Hiroyo Matsumoto and Sarie. They went to a 30-minute time limit draw. It was quite something. There was lots of 1v1 action rather than what I expect out of a tag match. You know, where one person goes out, two people attack, and then they kind of play like musical chairs with the different teams. This was just a lot of 1v1 action. It was really cool. Sarie especially, she really shined here. She was the workhorse in the match. She was carrying the younger shiny talent of Beauty Bear. Not so much Matsumoto. She was kind of flubbing about a lot of the time. She didn't have much to do. She definitely towers over everybody in the match, which is quite funny because she's not that tall, but comparatively she was. Chihiro has that good powerlifter image. Iwata is a clean striking machine. Those two have a fucking bright future. Keep your eye on those two. They work so well together, especially because they're so young. But again, Sarie was just a workhorse in this match and looked better than everyone. So very good. And that was the Sendai show. It was very quick and simple. Not much else to talk about or highlight. So on to one last super indie promotion. That is a promotion I, again, have mentioned in the past. It is out of Denmark, called Bodyslam Pro Wrestling. 2 shows went up recently on WXW Now. These are always delayed months and months after they go. So technically these took place in 2018, but they just got released now. So the events were Bodyslam 14 in Copenhagen and 15 in Aarhus. There's some things that stood out. So there's a wrestler by the name of Valentine, and he was facing against Senza Volto, which I've brought up Senza Volto in the past. He's a French masked wrestler. Pretty cool. I believe Senza Volto translates to no face. French? Maybe. But Valentine is a wrestler from Finland, and he has this cross gimmick that I can at best describe as a Velveteen Dream crossed with Joey Ryan. It's quite something. It's quite disgusting. Pretty sure they said his finisher was the skullfuck. Oh, man. But Valentine wins, defeats Senza Volto, and there's one thing Bodyslam Pro Wrestling has. It is characters, which is that's what separates it from a lot of these European indie promotions. And the crowd at Bodyslam is very into it. And there were 2 title defenses of our boy, my man, Michael fucking Finn. He is the Danish champion. He had 2 successful defenses. The Get High bad guy, the King of Wrong style himself, the man who does promos wearing glasses, and it's a picture-in-picture promo of him in his own glasses. He faced Joseph Connors in a 22-minute match, and he faced Fred Yehai in an almost 19-minute match. I loved Connors in his match. He was much more in his element when he's kind of generaling the match, because Finn is very young. I believe he's only about 23, 24. He's got plenty of room to grow. And even Fred Yehai's match, Fred Yehai had 2 matches, actually, and it surprised me considering what I saw last year in WXW when he was touring there. I thought he was just okay. I've even seen him in Evolve a couple times. Again, just thought he was okay. Something about Fred Yehi really clicked in Bodyslam Wrestling here on these two shows. But the reign of Michael Finn is now over 520 days. The next challenger came out, and it's Emeritus. He's a masked wrestler. I don't think he's got no chance. He's got no chance. He doesn't have that star power. That's what's really lacking in Bodyslam. It's just a really small roster. They don't have much to work with. If they can bring in maybe more talent, like what Art of Wrestling was doing, that lower undercard talent, and then they can build up their own stars that aren't being used in other places. That's always possible. I should also mention that Fred Yehai's other match was against the Chikara mainstay in Ophidian. You'd recognize him if you're a Chikara fan. He's the Egyptian snake mask gimmick. It's kind of well known, at least among the indie scene. So there's that. I'm really excited to see eventually when that Emeritus match goes up how Michael Finn beats him, because it's gonna happen. And then their January show. So who knows when these go up? But they're having a January show after that, where I believe it's like the promotion's big challenger. So if Michael Finn is to lose the title after like 600 days, it would probably come that January show. But who knows? You could hold it forever. I really want to see Michael Finn start wrestling outside of Denmark. I think he has that. I think he's that capable. There you go. That does it for the Super Indies. Making good time. Making good time. All right. Time to play a drop. And we can move on to our wrestler spotlight. Yeah, I felt like playing the Becky Lynch drop. She's over. Spotlight this time is, so what we do is we spotlight over retired wrestler. That's the only stipulation. We talk about their career. We used to do where we covered a couple matches. This is, I think, we've kind of evolved this. This is, I think, a better way to spotlight the person. We'll recommend a couple matches to check out rather than talk about them. So, King Kong Bundy is our spotlight. Unfortunately, he just passed away recently, and he was a character. He had a real short career considering it all. It was basically a debut in 1985 to 1988, and then he had a short return run in the rough WWF 94-95 years, basically. So, considering his career was only about like 5 years, I mean, he had stuff in the early 80s. I believe like the Mid-Atlantic or Crockett promotion, something like that. But regardless, he's most well known for his 80s WWF run. I would say he had 3 real feuds outside the tag division, because he was involved in tag team wrestling quite a lot, but he had 3 real feuds, in my opinion. My other opinion on King Kong Bundy was he was incredibly underutilized. I'll tell you why. But first, I should tell you probably what he looks like. He was a large dude, 6 foot plus, probably 400 pounds, bald head. He looked like a menacing villain type guy. And I've seen pictures of him with hair, not as menacing. But when I was growing up, he didn't have hair. So feud 1 was against Andre the Giant. And this was in 1985. And it was a brilliant mixing. Because he had Bobby Heenan as his manager. And I believe Heenan was also the manager of Giant at the time. Andre the Giant. And it was billed as the Colossal Jostle. And they did a really good job booking Bundy, looking super strong with kayfabe. He broke Andre's sternum off a splash. That's how they were selling it to us, that even Andre can be defeated if he's injured, right? And this also played off of one of King Kong Bundy's older gimmicks, even from his non-WWF days, where he would beat opponents so bad he'd make the ref count to 5. Pretty cool. I really like that. Someone could easily bring that back, right? Like a last man standing gimmick. No, you got to count to 10. That's how bad I beat the guy. Might be a little overkill, but you get the idea. Needless to say, Andre the Giant did beat him. Feud 2 was the main event of WrestleMania 2, losing to Hulk Hogan, because no one beats Hulk Hogan. Problem here was, even at live events and house shows, Bundy would always lose or get the DQ kind of deal. He would never win. But there is a very famous photo, probably the most famous King Kong Bundy, is when he originally beat down Hogan and gave him a bunch of splashes to injure his ribs, much like the Andre angle, that he's got both his feet and he's standing on top of Hogan, arms in the air. That's the most famous one. The match itself is like 10 minutes. It's real quick. They just beat each other on the cages. Hogan gets one up and he wins. Very simple. The crowd fucking loved it, though. Crowd loved it. And his third and final feud really came in his return in 94, 95 in a losing match versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and that match is hot garbage. Because Bundy was just way too slow at that time. He lost all his mobility. Nobody cared about him anymore. This was also the mid-90s. WWF was a rough place at that time. So I never understood, even as a kid, that Bundy would seemingly get this strong booking, right? On like this temporary basis as a killer, where he'd splash a guy, hurt his ribs, and then when the feud would come, he'd just lose every time. Then he'd get immediately pushed down the card again, from tag team wrestling to comedy acts to even jobber. So it's like, you do all this work building this killer up, and then you do nothing with him. Like this just, it's hurtful booking. And so I believe Bundy never truly went to the heights that he was capable of, especially in the 80s. Like, you had those long angles. He should have won something, right? He should have won a feud. So maybe that's why he stepped away from wrestling. I don't know the story. I don't know if he wrote an autobiography, but it's a shame. I really liked him as a kid, watching the old VHS tapes and everything. I thought he was just a scary guy, evil big scary guy that never won a big match. Shame. But needless to say, rest in peace, King Kong Bundy. How about that? I would say check out the if you can find it, the Andre the Giant match, the Colossal Jostle, and WrestleMania 2 main event. At least it's the crowd is very hyped for it. Alrighty. Moving right along. On pen. Time for our weekly wrestling recap. This will be fun. Alrighty. Weekly wrestling recap. It is, as we do, starting off with Major League Wrestling, MLW. We got 2 episodes to go for. It is the March 3rd and 10th shows. March 3rd is episode 47, otherwise known as Intimidation Games. Headlined by the main event of Low Key versus Tom Lawler in a steel cage. But first, we get the introducing of Jim Cornette as the new announcer of MLW, and gotta say, really good. Yeah, I mean, keep the guy off Twitter, but goddamn, the guy knows how to call a fucking wrestling match. He's just excellent. He's always on everything. Yeah, I miss Tony Schiavone. I think they'll probably do a switching of the two, since Cornette doesn't like flying. So if there's longer, closer to home shows for Cornette, he'll be there, and Schiavone will take the other ones. Opening match, we get the Lucha Bros defeating Team AAA of Laredo Kid and Toros. Banger of a tag match. Fans even threw coins and folded dollar bills in the ring like they do in Mexico. Too cool. Very fun. Great lucha match. The more MLW embraces this lucha style and its Hispanic fan base, the better, I say. I mean, when we start hearing the soccer horns and maybe even trash being thrown in the ring. Oh, hint. We could be in for a very cool little promotion on the rise. It is growing. So we get the funky New Heart Foundation. From here on out, I'm going to call them H2, because it is. They're the second iteration of the Hart Foundation. We get Teddy Hart and Pillman Jr. invoking the Freebird rule on their MLW tag team titles. So that's to include Davey Boy Smith Jr. We get more promos from MJF and Zelina De La Renta. So MJF is doing his MJF thing, and De La Renta is doing her Promociones Dorado, we're getting our revenge, I got nothing to say to you kind of deal. I love her. I love MJF. There's a reason why why week after week we always see promos from them. They just get it. So quickly to the main event, we got a cage match. It's Filthy Tom Lawler defending his newly won title against former champion Low Key. And this fucking felt like a straight fight. It felt like a cage fight. And Cornette was doing a great job saying, you know, this is Tom Lawler's element. He's right at home here with the cage walls around him. Yeah. There was Zelina De La Renta throws in a heel at one point. Lawler takes a roll of pennies away from Low Key, hits him in the head. So it had some good street fight elements in this cage match. It felt like a big deal. The bad part of this match was when they get over the cage, they're just hanging on the outside, like apron level, and they're hitting each other, which seems like an eternity. So I'm just thinking to myself, why doesn't one just fucking fall? I think the mentality here that they were going for was Lawler and Low Key hate each other so much that they just wanted to keep beating each other up until the end, and the title was less meaningful at that point? I don't know. Low Key ends up banging Lawler's head against the cage, and this causes Lawler to fall and hit the floor like microseconds before Low Key falls. Lawler retains. He's still the champ. Post-match, 3 dudes come out and beat the living hell out of Tom Lawler. And the 3 guys consist of former Team Filthy partner Simon Gotch, Jacob Fatu, and Joseph Samael. Also revealed to be the new group called Contra, as they draped a flag over the downed Lawler. So, Contra was those subliminal messages coming across the screen for the past month within MLW. This is we were thinking it was going to be a wrestler to come out. It's a group. So this is really cool. Fatu even did a 20-foot top cage splash, which was really cool. Fatu was part of the large Anoa'i family. The Usos, Reigns, all those guys. While Joseph Samael is otherwise known on the indie scene for the past 20 years as the Almighty Sheik. So maybe some of you recognize that. Point is, he's a wise veteran of the indie scene, so he's been around a while. So it was a good show. Intimidation games. I wish the cage match ended better. So there's that. March 10th, today. Opening match, Ace Austin defeats DJZ to get a spot for Battle Riot. That's the 40-man Rumble that Tom Lawler won last year. Got his title match. Hey, title. There was a singles match. Ace Austin's 22 years old. He looks really good. He's got that Gambit from X-Men gimmick thing going on with the cards and the pole that pops out of his hand. He just needs a little bit more charisma. He's got the gimmick down. I like the gimmick. So DJZ definitely got Ace Austin over. Really fun kind of junior middleweight match. We get more promos with MJF, his new goon Richard Holiday, doing really funny MJF things. They call out the New Heart Foundation for a tag match. We get to Hart H2 later. They accept. That's the gist of it there. We get a really good backstage segment with Zelina De La Renta. She's all pissed off at the camera work. She turns a corner. Fucking Mance Warner, of all people, this dude, he spills beer on her by accident, and he's all upset because he spilled his beer rather than her. Basically, just Zelina's not having Mance Warner. Later, she sends El Hijo de la Park, beat him up, but Mance Warner beats him up instead back. Zelina just can't stand it. She busts her purse against the wall. She gets her phone out and she calls our boy Ricky Martinez. She's like, yeah, I got a job for you. So I think we're gonna get Ricky either jumping Mance or they're gonna have a singles match. Love it. I love it. We get a Alex Hammerstone squash match. So squash match part 2. There was an interesting backstage thing where we caught Hammerstone on the phone and he said something about the privileged, or I forget the name. I should have written that down. I forget the name, but he says a group name, and that plays into what MJF and Richard Holiday were calling themselves. So perhaps we'll get Hammerstone joining those two. We could be looking at more factions being built within MLW, which is very interesting. Main event time, we get Ace Romero taking on Simon Gotch because Gaunt wants a revenge match for the 20,000 he lost a couple months ago in his little open challenge. So this is all Simon Gotch wants. He's got his new look, no more mustache. The crowd was letting him have it. It was quite funny. I was at a indie show in January, Beyond Wrestling, and that's when he saved his match, and we're all just like, what the hell? He looks way different. Match was all right. It passed. Ace Romero's a big boy. Whoa. 400 plus pounds easy. Or no, the ring announcer I think said 375, but they tagged him as 400. Anyways, needless to say, the match ends in a DQ. When it was all said and done, the Contra boys, they're calling themselves the Contra Unit, is the full name. They come out and beat the living piss out of AC Baby. They just crush him. They beat him down. Samael gets a railroad spike and just beats the shit, makes AC just bleed profusely. Crimson Mask, refs can't get in the ring, security can't get in the ring, they're just playing defense as the beating's going down. He put coins over his eyes, signifying going off into the next life with some riches. He's dead. They throw the Contra flag on him. This Contra unit means fucking business. Very interesting. No trash thrown in the ring, so the fans may, they getting a lot of heat, but it's not NWO, fucking ruining your evening kind of heat, where you're just so sick of the same bullshit booking over and over again. So cool. MLW, 2 strong weeks. Again, the only negative I can really point out is the end of the cage match where they're just hanging on the side for seemingly forever. Good job, MLW. Still have my attention. I can easily see why it just wouldn't be for everybody, but hey, it's got me. Very happy for it. Moving on. Write down the times. There we go. Got it down. Time for that next drop. Where is it? There it is. Oh boy. Impact Wrestling. Recognize that music. It is that time of the cast. March 1st and 8th show. Impact's on thin ice, guys. 2018 was good for Impact. It got me back. 2019, pushing me away. They're spending money to keep talent. This booking is just... Even the matches aren't... The best way I can describe is Impact Wrestling is boring. March 1st was a super dull and boring show. Everything was just so by the book. All these feuds are going on 6 weeks too long. All these turns or whatever that they're hinting at, just they're not pulling the trigger on them. And you can just like lay it all out and see everything coming. Because you know they're not swerving you. You got to keep things interesting. You can't. I get sometimes prediction is a good thing because then everything makes logical sense. Sometimes you need to swerve in there, but you got to hint. So, what was the March? So, what was this March 1st show like? Well, positive. Starting out with a match, right? Good. Got Willie Mack versus Jake Christ. Starts well. Then just random DQ by Dave Christ. Tommy Dreamer comes out. We got a tag match. Holla holla, playa. Faces win. Match goes on forever. Crowd's silent. And they were for this whole night. Not a good sign for things to come. Backstage, we get Johnny Impact. He's getting interviewed about giving out title shots for favors. Totally falls flat. This backstage interviewer guy, we're gonna learn more about him in next week's episode. He's a thing. We get a tag match of KM and Falaba. So Falaba recently signed a contract extension versus the returning Impact re-debut of Reno Scum. Recognize them from the past. And they lose in a nothing match. They do a post-match beatdown, get some heat, gets KM and Falaba. Problem here is, yeah, Falaba is loved by the fans, but they're not really a thing. You know, we just saw them lose the Falaba, Reno Scum. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going where. We get recurring comedy segments of making fun of Disco Inferno. Kind of made me chuckle because they're going very fourth wall-y with it all. It's Impact Management making fun of his booking ideas, referencing kind of like old WCW Russo stuff to the Vince McMahon stuff when he was working there. That was funny, so they kind of kick him out of room. Tommy Dreamer sends him into a room with the Anthem Eagle, which he gets jumped by the Eagle. So, in a way, Impact's also making fun of themselves. Okay, alright. These were funny tonight. We get Eli, Drake, and Eddie Edwards. They have a little backstage talk, so that continues. Drake wants to be partners with him. Eddie's not having it. We get a singles match. Tessa Blanchard defeats Delilah Doom in a match that seemed way too competitive to me. That's my opinion. I don't think Blanchard needs to be wasting her time. This match happened because on the previous week, Blanchard interfered in the match, beat the shit out of him. So, needless to say, Blanchard wins. Good. Right person won. We get 2 more backstage segments. Brian Cage thinks him and Johnny can get along. Because Brian Cage is now a geek idiot. Who gives a shit? The dismantling of the Brian Cage badass character is just painful to watch. Because you know Johnny is just... like, you can see it. It's a manipulation. And Cage is falling for it. It's awful. Kiera Hogan and Jordan Grace want to help Rosemary, because of course they do. I don't know what Jordan Grace's role in this. You don't need her. Really didn't. Moving on. Dark Ward's next. We get a singles match. Zachary Wentz, he's a member of the Rascals. He defeats Ethan Page because retired football players in the stands kind of distract him. So, 3rd time in a row, the crowd is just totally dead. They're just not having any of this. We get a Sami Callihan video promo, like recounting all the Rich Swann stuff. So that continues. No conclusion there. And then we get Moose and Cross doing a promo in the back with Melissa Santos. Moose is hitting on her, and they're kind of spouting words at each other. It's super boring. They're talking about the tag match that they're coming up later with Cage and Impact. So main event time. Good God, match just. We get Moose and Cross versus Cage and Impact. Stipulation here is because Cage is helping Impact, he gets a future title shot. Done fucking deal. This was literally a nothing match until Johnny gets this weird kayfabe neck injury. And what ends up happening is all the medics and staff come to check out their champion. But they're not doing anything. They're just like looking at him, and Johnny's holding his neck all awkwardly, and he's like, oh no. Oh, Ty ends up coming out. She's all worried about her hubby. And meanwhile, while that's going on, fucking Cross and Moose are just beating the piss out of Brian Cage. Eventually leads to Cross hitting him over the head with a belt, and we get a Cage blade job. That was interesting. I was like, whoa, okay. This is the edgy Impact we need. It's funny how when Conan isn't behind like a whole show or something, or we get Dreamer behind it, you can tell who's behind who. At least this is the way I think. So in the end, Cage fights back, but no Johnny. Taya's worrying about her man. No Tessa, by the way, which I thought was interesting. That would have been a good time for Blanchard to come out, but I guess not. Cross ends up choking Cage out, taking him out. Lost a lot of blood. He's passed out. Johnny's being taken to the back. Messy, I guess effective. I'm definitely interested in where they're going to go with it. I think Johnny's faking it. I think that's pretty clear, because the way he fell, it's faking it. Moving on to March 8th. Heard this last Friday. A lot more to talk about in this show, because we finally got some conclusions to things. Hey! Should have happened at the end of January, beginning of February, but no, we're mid-March now. Here we go. Let's just get this out of the way, boys. Let's do it. Starts with Rich Swann, X Division champ, against Ethan Page. Swann wins clean because Ethan Page is super lame, and I fall asleep on my TV. OVE comes out, so we got the Callahan, we got the Chris brothers. They tell Swann, today's the day that you join the family, because family is everything. Well, what did I say a few podcasts ago? I want Swann to fucking join him. I don't want to see this atypical booking where it's the put on the shirt swerve. Oh my god, the DDP thing. It's been done to death. It would be much more interesting. We get a faction where Swann, the X Division champ, joins OVE. Got some convincing arguments. They were in the hospital. Swann said he's family. Well, Swann hugs him, puts the shirt on, and as Callahan and OVE are celebrating, he takes him out, kicks him, rips the shirt off. Guess the crowd popped. I just went, of course he does. Same old, same old. So we know what's going to happen. We're going to get a Callahan-Swann match, probably for the X Division title. Swann wins. There you go. So all that, where we saw Willie Mack backstage go in with the Chris brothers, that was all in my head. That played no big deal. All that in the hospital is now convoluted. Why did Swann do that? It definitely wasn't all he had to, he didn't have to say that. Whatever. We get the debut of Ace Austin. Hey, guy from MLW. He takes on this guy named Jake Atlas. Austin wins pretty easily with the running blockbuster. I do like his move. It's called the fold. I do like that. Very simple. It's quick. You can hit it out of nowhere. Good little move. But, debut match. So Impact Wrestling is doing this weird investigative reporter segments now. So that reporter dude from last week, well, he's back here now, and now he's introducing himself. He's some dude named Mendez, and he's like, Mendez, investigative reporter. I ask the hard-hitting questions. He's like the stereotypical cringy news reporter, right? So first he bugs Cage about losing, and he's like losing all blood, and he's all messed up, and then he shows him videos of like a Johnny promo. So Cage is all mad. He's like, whatever, I got a title shot, whatever he promised me via the contract. It's a promo with Johnny saying he needs a neck fusion, and he still promises he's a man of his word, and he'll give Cage his title shot despite the injury. So There's zero way this isn't a swerve by Johnny faking an injury. There's only two ways this goes down. He either rolls up Cage in the title match because he faked the injury, or he takes advantage of Cage trusting him, which Cage has no fucking reason to trust him after all the bullshit that he's been through, but Cage is gonna trust him because he's an idiot. He's a geek moron. And then we're gonna get a Johnny beatdown, and he'll probably injure him to take him out for future title matches. Taya's there to play along because she's not over. Nobody cares about her title win. And she's not very good, so she was much better in Lucha Underground. So yeah, all this is gonna do is Cage is gonna look even more stupid, and now I'm just annoyed. This is turn TV off annoyance, because it's just you spent all this time building this killer, and now he means less than nothing, right? Anyways, Killer Kross's intention is clear, so if he doesn't get a title shot, he will continue to injure Johnny. That's his shtick going on. But this contradicts his promos after Johnny beat him clean and he was accepting of it and he wanted to join Johnny, or vice versa. So my only theory here with Killer Kross is he joins Johnny like he wanted a couple months ago. They're playing the long con story. Johnny did actually accept it. He was just gonna use him at the right time. But then that contradicts why they were fighting recently between the two. So either way of cross joining or not, it doesn't make sense. There's something that contradicts the other based on the storytelling over the past couple months with this. No idea what the plan is for Moose, since all of a sudden Moose and Kross get along again. Doesn't make sense, because the promo 2 weeks ago contradicts that. The main event scenes. Whew. Oh boy. So, the next segment. Alright, we get this bizarre up and down segment that's followed in the ring. Alicia Edwards comes out, says her contract is expiring at the end of the month. You hear fans chanting AEW. Yeah, as they would. She says, maybe it's time to go home and start a family instead. Cue the Desi Shit Squad. Well, guess what? They get real heat by saying anti-2019 stuff. They say a woman's job is to stay home, bear children, cook, all the notes that it just isn't going to fly in 2019. It's real heat, right? The crowd finally dislike the Desi Shit Squad. They finally do. They finally have reason to hate these people. This is good. Play it off, I thought. Oh my god. Alicia slaps Gama Singh after he says some misogynistic words. So instead of Alicia Edwards kind of fighting back, standing up for, women being strong and all that, no, she just kind of cowardly backs off. She's afraid of the men. Cue Eddie Edwards to save the day, but instead he gets beaten down, while Alicia Edwards just kind of awkwardly watches and does nothing. There's not much of a reaction out of her. She's just kind of a spectator to it all. I thought this was easily going to be intergender tag match, or then you can have Eli Drake come out at some point. Instead, we get these awkward moments with Alicia Edwards here, and Eli Drake does end up coming out, and he saves the day by single-handedly taking out Desi Shit Squad. So obviously this is going to be set up a match of Eddie and Eli versus the Desi Shit Squad. So all that heat that was being built from the crowd, because they did generally heat him, was immediately lost when Eli Drake just pwned him. So I'm very disinterested in it, as I imagine it will be Drake and Eddie kind of winning basically nothing tag matches, just to say they're a tag team for too many weeks too long kind of deal, just to build them up. And Alicia Edwards, I imagine, will continue to do nothing. A real shame. Real shame. That they could have done more with that segment. The Dark War match. Get Allie back from Sue Young and James Mitchell. Rosemary's in the ring. It's her in-ring return from injury, boys. Very excited. Kira Hogan, Jordan Grace are also there. So these three are taking on Dark Alley, Sue Young, and the Undead Maid of Honor. This had a cool little red, like, lighting over the match. So it made it seem like it was a bigger deal than it was. You know, it's been months and months of building and long-term storytelling, much anticipation. And then it's just a standard 6-man tag with red lights. Nothing special. Rosemary pins the Maid of Honor, slaps a kinky little belt collar on Allie and takes her away. Okay. Alright. Cut to later. Rosemary basically tells Hogan she's done here. You know, you can't handle this. And Jordan's like, yeah, agree. Come on, do it. Very underwhelming after everything was said and done. They couldn't do, like, a few hardcore spots? I mean, this was supposed to be the Dark War. You couldn't have Mitchell, like, trying to screw him over with some lightning and stuff. I mean, there was so many possibilities here, but it was just a 6-man tag. Nothing more than that. Oh well. Oh well. Scarlett Bordeaux hits the ring in probably my favorite segment of the night. It's, you have Disco Inferno kind of running around the back, and he's like, I'm looking for Don Callis, and Scott D'Amore is like, do you not watch Impact? He's on commentary, you moron. Like, okay, kind of being self-aware there. Scarlett Bordeaux is being interviewed, and she goes, well, who was the dumbest probably in that talent search? And she goes, well, probably Disco Inferno. He even wore the turkey suit from Thanksgiving back in November. Disco takes offense to it. He's now sick of being made fun of by everybody, so he gets in the ring. There was some weird Disco segments on this show where he was breaking the fourth wall too much. You know? He was saying he was used to be in WWE writing team with Vince, then he thinks he sees Vince Russo, then he thinks he sees Cody in the Bucks, so he asked for a job at AEW on Impact. Come on. Anyway, back to the point. Disco Inferno gets in the ring, and he goes, I agree with the Desi Shit Squad. Women do deserve to be home. They're weak. Go and cook. You can't, Scarlett, you're gonna get in the ring and you're gonna suck. Bra and panties matches were when women's wrestling was a deal. He's trying a little too hard here. But anyways, Bordeaux, this is where she shines, because she's had this gimmick for years. This is an Impact, right? She's had this sexy don't keep me down attitude for quite some time. So she's like, she says, tired of you misogynistic men trying to tell me the way I dress, that men are stronger than women. She gets a good promo over him, and she goes, Disco, I'm gonna make you my bitch. Crowd popped hard. So I'm sure Disco is going to lose this match. Scarlett will get the big pop and win. They built it up well enough, I suppose. Scarlett Bordeaux character isn't for everybody in 2019, but it's a character, and she's a very good self-empowering woman character, which I'm a fan of. So I just think it's taken way too long to get her in the ring, and they really botched the seemingly a waste of time for the talent search. They could have done more with that. Tessa Blanchard's getting another chance at the title, sort of. She has a number one contender match against Jordan Grace. Tessa's still not happy with management. She keeps calling out Gail Kim. So it's pretty obvious to me Tessa's going to lose clean or some nonsense in this match to Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace is clearly going to be the next contender for the Knockouts title. And Tessa Blanchard is going to be against, most likely, a returning Gail Kim coming out of wrestling retirement to take her on. Hey, I'm all for it. We get Gail Kim in a wrestling match. Hell yeah. Against Tessa Blanchard. Hell yeah. All for it. Just kind of getting tired of the whole Tessa deserves the title shot thing. She's had a number of opportunities and she lost clean. So, at least in the street fight. Main event, Lucha Bros versus the Rascals. Great match. Recommend. Very hot. Crowd actually got real excited for this. It was the first time I've seen him excited in 2 weeks, pretty much. Post-match, Conan tells the Lucha Bros to give him a date for the rematch with LAX. Lucha Bros not happy with LAX because the mask incident where LAX ripped him off. So, a better episode in Impact. I was definitely not bored, but I was sighing a lot. It's been a rough go. I think this is the last weekly wrestling Impact that we're going to do. So, barring any crazy elements that happen, I think we know where everything's going. If something surprises me, I'll bring it up on the next episode. And there's that. That was Impact. It's very disappointing. Very disappointing. Considering where they were last year. There we go. Time to move along.
Hey dude, you into anime, manga, and all that radical stuff? Then you should totally check out the Anime Radicals Network at www.animeradicals.com. If you want discussions, debates, reviews, and all in between, we also got timely reviews, revolutions, mecha, and much more. Find it on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and all podcast catchers. The Anime Radicals Network. The revolution will be simulcast.
Hey, it's Stardom time. I know that's some people's favorite segment. Getting a lot of good feedback for covering Stardom the way we are. Stardom has a lot of shows. Maybe I should just add Stardom into the weekly thing. There's always Stardom shows hitting the books. Well, holy crap, Stardom knocked it out of the park since the last episode. We got some Osaka shows. Not much to report on the Osaka shows. Just the more building up Andres Miyagi. She continues to look quite strong and solid within Oedo Tai. She's fitting in quite nicely, picking up a nice win in a 10-person elimination match as the sole survivor of Oedo Tai. Pretty funny end where it was funny. It was funny. Anyways, Mayu Iwatani successfully defends her new Women of Honor title versus Konami and sells the worked knee like a champ. This match went 16 minutes. Konami has great ring psychology. I believe the sole pupil of Asuka? I believe. And you can definitely tell with the smooth transition work between holds and limb work. So Konami's got a bright future. I think she's only 22. Christ, Stardom has so much young talent. But Mayu Iwatani, like even the promo afterwards, she just never gave up selling the knee. She cuts a promo being like, I'm gonna come back with this Women of Honor title. I will keep this title, even if as long as my knee doesn't just give out. Keep going. She even before she started all, she was saying vowels in Japanese and being goofy because it's Mayu Iwatani. She's adorable. On to Nagoya. Built up as a big show. Lots of titles on the line here. We get a double knockout finish for the International Eve title between Bea Priestley and Utami Hayashishita. Just a real cool finish. Sets up a rematch showdown, probably at Wrestle Queendom in Eve later this year. A few months. I really like the exhaustion finish. I think those... Is Stardom the only one that does it consistently enough where you think that finish could happen at any moment? Like, you can always feel that it's getting there. Really cool. I really like B. Priestley still looking strong. It doesn't make Utami look weak at all. Sets up a rematch that makes it even a bigger deal. We get a cool trios match between Oedo Tai and Stars. So this was the team of Mayu, Saki, and Tam Nakano of Stars against Kagetsu, Hazuki, and Natsu Sumire. Well, Mayu pinned Sumire in the end. It was a fun trios match. Fun stuff. I always like these Stardom trios matches. They're very good at working these. Post-match, Kagetsu wants a rematch with Miyagi as the new partner instead of Sumire. Saying, that was just a practice match for the real one. Because it's Kagetsu. Also, both Konami and Azumi want a shot at Hazuki's high-speed title. And Hazuki's like, well, we're talking about the trios titles here. But alright, if you guys want to butt in individually, you guys aren't worth my time, so I'll take you both on. 3-way set. That should be real good. I think that's already up on Stardom. But what I like doing is waiting for the whole show to go up at once. And then I like watching the whole show. It just flows better. That way I'm not watching the main event first. And then we get the match of the year candidate. Definitely women's match of the year, right? That's Momo Watanabe defending the Wonder title, the white belt, versus hometown hero Jungle Kiona. The match goes 21 minutes, 23 seconds of wrestling. Finger licking good. Oh, this match. Fucking loved it. Oh, it's one of the best matches of the year. It just had a big match feel. Momo's backstage. She's like untying her shoes 2 or 3 times. Jungle Kiona's kind of pacing. She's got her dad giving her flowers in the ring with all these other people from Nagoya. Possibly everyone she knows. And this is Momo going for the record-breaking 11th defense of the white belt. Bear in mind that Momo's also only 18 years old. This is disgusting. This is one of the best matches I've ever seen in Stardom. I'm saying it right now. The ring psychology alone was just outstanding. I wish Momo would have sold more than what she did, because there was a lot of leg work at first, and then there was back work done by Jungle Kiona. So while Momo did play the shocked comeback, champion very well, the selling could have been better. That's a hard thing to do. Too often, though, I see a lot of people, get a. I'll take the Beyond Wrestling show I went to, where David Starr took a chair to Chris Dickinson's back, and the next match, all of a sudden he's fine, and this is the same night. That drives me insane. Momo did sell enough to an extent where it didn't bother me, because I still loved the crap out of this match. It just worked so well. Kiona started working on the legs in the first half of the match, or the first third, really, to take Momo's kicking away. She's a strong kicker. That's what she's known for. She kicks the shit out of you. Later, we get a kick reversal into an apron powerbomb spot Kiona does to Momo, and that's where the back came in. Fucking brutal looking. It was great. Oh, it looks so good. We even get replays on Stardom because it was just this big thing. So from then on, Kiona primarily works on the back, doing splashes, kicking, knees to the back, submission holds to the back. It just worked. So because she stopped working the legs, this is where I'm also more forgiving. Momo's legs make a comeback. Maybe I'm looking too far into it, but she hits a few big moves on Momo does on Jungle Kiona. Eventually, Jungle Kiona turns the tide. She hits a fucking muscle buster of all things. She's been teasing that for weeks in her matches. Never could hit it. You'd think, oh, it's her new finisher. She hits this. She's winning the title. Momo kicks out. She gets a few more big moves in. Shockingly, somehow, going in as the 10 defense champion. shockingly gets the win. The psychology, the way it suspended your disbelief, I really thought Kiona had it. I really did. There was multiple times I was like, yeah, she's got it. Hometown. Momo's cocky champ. She's even nervous before the match. I said in the last podcast episode, I felt a title change. No, Momo, 18 years old, 11 defense, breaks the record. She is, in no doubt in my mind, the new ace of Stardom. What a match. Like, this was defining. So where does Kiona go from here? I know where Momo's going. She's going to defend that title. She might even do title versus title. The sky's the limit for her. Kiona, she's now lost the tag titles. Jan, Jungle, Assault Nation, they've lost the trios titles. Kiona lost the red belt. Lost to go at the red belt. She lost the 5-star Grand Prix when she had a lead. Now she's lost the white belt. That's 5 things she's lost in about 5 months. Where does she go from here? I'm in a Discord chat, wrestling chat. A guy by the name of Mad Max. He had a good idea. She should go to Ring of Honor. Go on an excursion. I agree with this. For 2 reasons. Kiona's losing it. She cut a promo after the match saying no matter how many times I lose, I get knocked down, I'll get back up, I'll get better, I'll try again. You know, good stuff. Very emotional, that's for sure. She goes to Ring of Honor. She knows how to work. Those women in Ring of Honor need to learn how to work. Because they're not up to par. And that goes for any women's promotion. They're not up to par with Shine. They're not up to par with the Development Rise. Definitely not up to par with Stardom. Jungle Kiona knows how to work. She goes away because she's the weakest looking stable leader of them all. She goes away for some months. Maybe we get Mayu Iwatani against Jungle Kiona for the Ring of Honor title. Probably not, I would imagine. But she goes away. She gets a good little reputation abroad. She comes back. Big hit, new person kind of thing. Maybe she changes up her gear. Maybe. Comes like Jungle Girl. I know that's another wrestler already. You get the idea. New person, new fresher look. I don't know. Point is, match of the year candidate, Momo Watanabe, Jungle Kiona. Holy crap. Definitely go out of your way and check that match out. Alright, we got a lot more to go. Oh god, guys. Whew. This pen is driving me absolutely insane. Podcast. Okay. Pen. Maybe you'll work. Yeah, that's a little better. Alright. Where am I? That's right, okay. I'll play a drop. I'll do it. Why not? Here we go. Dragon Gate. I told you I was going to watch this March 3rd show. I, in fact, watched the March 2nd show, too. It's Champion Gate from Osaka, boys and girls. Day 1, Dragon Gate. Dragon Gate is on a resurgence, boys. You should definitely check out Dragon Gate. They have this young crop of talent mixed in with their old vets. Like, this is the stuff that All Japan and Noah is missing. This is great. So day 1, we get the Open the Brave Gate title match. It's essentially the middleweight, the junior title. Nah, there's no junior title in Dragon Gate. Middleweight. We'll call it the mid-card. There we go. Got it. Got the terminology. Open the Brave Gate title. Dragon Kid's the champion. He defeats K Ness in an 18-minute, 56-second match. I really enjoyed this match. K Ness has this excellent combination of using martial arts with power moves. And it's very fascinating. It almost looks like a dance at times. And that's the best way I can describe it. Because his kicking flows well, and then it transitions into, say, like power slams, power bombs, what have you along those lines. It really looked like a tango in certain sections. He even mixed in a lot of leg work. So that Dragon Kid, supposed to sell. Dragon Kid didn't sell this shit. He didn't sell anything in this match. Nevertheless, Dragon Kid still wins and maintains the title. I was so sad because K&S was just fascinating to me. So I discovered a new wrestler in Dragon Gate. Already had a few guys that stood out to me. K&S is a new one. I really, really enjoyed what I saw from him. He should have won. He was definitely the better guy. And then our main event for day one was the Open the Triangle title match. So it's your trios titles. Triangle makes sense now? All right. We're all on the same page. So we got the evil trios group Red, R-E-D. That's who Pac is a part of. That's a team of Kazuma Sakamoto, Takashi Yoshida, and Yasushi Kanda. And they are 3 large Japanese men. They are no joke, and they are the champions. They took on a team called Maximum of Kaito Ishida, Masato Yoshino. We know Masato Yoshino. He was the one that lost the main title, the Dreamgate title, to Pac back in November. And Naruka Doi, who we saw previous shows try to go for the number 1 contender match that KZ ended up winning. I believe that's right. I hope I am. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But yeah, Red is this big faction with and Pac's in it, filled with just intimidating looking dudes. Match was alright. I just have an issue when tag matches become chaotic for the sake of chaos. And this match only felt like that. There's times where there's fluidity and, close near falls. Didn't get really any of that in this match. It was just pure chaos. Didn't even feel like a luchador match. Even luchador matches, all those high impact moves. With this group of Red and they're just big dudes, it just didn't click right. Regardless, Red defeats Maximum. Moving on to day 2. Day 2 had the Open the Twin Gate title match, so your tag titles. The defending champions is called Big Ben, that's Ben K, and Big R Shimizu. They're taking on the tag team of Tribe Vanguard, which is Kai and UT. Now, if you remember from the previous podcast, there was a singles match I watched with Ben K against UT, and I really liked it. Those two are again, a couple of those up-and-comers. Well, this match goes 19 minutes, 51 seconds. It started real slow. And Big R Shimizu is real slow. Not Nakanishi slow in New Japan, but he's slow. However, as the match went on, it got hotter and hotter. It went from a low boil to a raging flame. Because Big Ben, what happened was Big Ben isolated and took Kai completely out of the match, leaving the much smaller UT to fight alone. And when this happened, UT became a friggin' star. The crowd became unglued as UT fought back, hitting big moves in quick, rapid succession with near falls on both sides. So UT would hit a big move, he'd get a couple near falls, then either Ben K or Shimizu, who was in the ring, they might hit a big move on him, they'll get a near fall, UT kicks out, crowd goes nuts. I started like, when's this match gonna end? It could go at any point. This tiny little dude is fighting back. It gave me like Rey Mysterio, WCW type vibes, that kind of stuff. But in the end, there was this huge spot where UT's been fighting on his own for like 5 minutes. It was just awesome. Just, I hope it never ended kind of deal. Well, he runs at Big R Shimizu. Shimizu just chucks him in the air, shoulder, like, up. Like flapjack style, right? But he lets go. And in as UT's coming down in midair, he takes just this disgusting, stiff-looking spear from Ben K that took him out of his boots. And UT does kick out, but that was the nail in the coffin, because then they both hit their individual finishers, and UT eats the pin. My God, that was super fun. I did like that match. Or what it became was super great. Then we get the Open the Dreamgate title match. As we recall, Shun Skywalker challenged Pac. Pac said, yeah, you were impressive. Well, here we go. Shun Skywalker versus champion Pac. Pac going for his second defense. Match goes 18 minutes, 30 seconds. This wasn't as good as I was expecting, or at least hoping, because Skywalker didn't shine as much as he should have. Although Pac did look like the star he is, and he played the heel well to the comeback babyface setup of Shun Skywalker. It just, for what I'm growing accustomed of what Dragon Gate is, this just didn't have that flow for the first half. Skywalker wasn't hitting his moves. He didn't get to shine. Luckily, the last 5 minutes was where everything finally came together. So it took too long in my eyes to finally get going. It was just too late. Needless to say, it was still a good match. Just wasn't great, that kind of deal. It's like your standard, you got your big main event title match and it comes out to like 3 stars, 3.5. Average. Your average big title match with high flyers. So Pac wins his second defense. Add that key on that sweet Dreamgate belt. He cuts a promo post-match, basically going, he owns Dragon Gate. No one's good enough for this Dreamgate title. And he basically tells management, just send me another guy. Whatever. Pac is, he's doing very well in Dragon. Pretty cool. I'm all on board with this Dragon Gate thing. If there's like one or 2 days like this a month, like New Japan, and I can skip half a card because they're just 6-man tags all the time, I can keep up with Dragon Gate. Because I am learning a lot here. There's enough in the main event scene to know what's happening. There we go. That is Dragon Gate. Boom, baby. Move on to some pro wrestling. Hey. Progress Wrestling. This is how this episode is titled Start the Cup with Eskeewd Beef, because Progress Wrestling finally had a chapter. We've been waiting for this a while. It is Chapter 84, Eskeewd Beef. And this was a real fun show. Love Progress. If Fight Club Pro could get a little bit more stories involved, it could overtake Progress in my eyes. But Progress, here we go. Starts off with a 2-on-1 handicap match. Mark Haskins, because at NXT UK taping, Mark Andrews got hurt, so he can't be his tag partner. Mark Haskins goes, well, he can't find Jimmy Havoc. He's probably at a bar getting drunk, which he probably was. Well, he defeats the team of Do Not Resuscitate, the tandem of Chuck Mambo and Spike Trevay, via DQ, because eventually Drew Parker comes out and causes the DQ. It only goes for about 10 minutes, and as this beatdown's happening on Mark Haskins, and we're all thinking, man, doesn't he have any friends? The lights go out. And behind DNR, as they're looking at the stage, is a very pissed off, returning Jimmy Havoc. Oh, and he chair shots and beats the hell out of DNR. Like, it is no joke. He is a pissed off man. The crowd pops so hard. He then drags Drew Parker to the back, just like Parker did to him a few chapters ago. So we'll probably not see Parker for a chapter or two, at the very least. The return of Jimmy Havoc is real. We were all just waiting for this to happen. This is how you do a return and a setup for the future. Well, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is how you get Jimmy Havoc. Everyone loves him again. Yes. I even loved when Havoc's in the ring and the camera panned to Haskins and Vicky Haskins. They both got like real big smiles on their faces, just real big grins. It was good. Those chair shots were brutal, just chucking him. Oh, poor DNR. I felt bad for him. Singles match. Millie McKenzie defeats Bea Priestley in just under 8 minutes. Pretty sick looking spot where Bea Priestley does a lucha top rope drop kick, but it's more like a double stomp, and she just stiffs Millie McKenzie real hard in like the chest and neck, or the throat more like. But Millie McKenzie catches Bea Priestley when she tries that same move a second time, spears her in midair, not to the extent that Ben K did in Dragon Gate, but Millie McKenzie does win. So McKenzie gotten some... She's putting in some work here. Next match, Progress Women's Title qualification match for the Fatal 4-Way at, I believe, Super Strong Style 16, as is tradition, or at least becoming tradition. Nina Samuels defeats Ginny as Nina Samuels super kicks Laura DiMatteo's head off on the ramp to take her out of the equation earlier in the match. Samuels gets a roll up on Ginny, surprises her in 7 minutes. So there you go. Nina Samuels, she's getting a push seemingly everywhere. She's the Eve champion. I hear she's getting a push in NXT UK for some reason. Hey, she's going forward here in Progress as well. She is getting better in the ring. I am noticing this. So she is putting in the work. I was almost positive I read something about her not re-signing an NXT UK contract deal, but I guess that was incorrect. Singles match follows to end our first half of Progress. Jordan Devlin versus Travis Banks. Hey, we get it before the NXT UK did a blow off. How about that? The match goes only 13 minutes 50 seconds, so just shy of that nice little 15-minute mark. Because Travis Banks gets the DQ. He was kind of doing the funny comedy, champion heel Travis Banks, where he was he does like this crowd swimming surf to try and get away from Jordan Devlin. Jordan Devlin's like, look at him like he's stupid. But we end up getting the returning formation of the South Pacific Power Trip in an added new big member. He's very big. He's bigger than them. We get a third dude to join the little Kiwi squad. So very interesting overall. TK Cooper's back too, so it's nice to see him. Not sure if he was out with an injury or not. We're getting some more groups here in Progress. This is quite nice. A lot of progress happening in the wrestling world with factions. It's always good to have factions. So we'll also note that there was the NXT UK show. There was the Falls Count Anywhere match that Banks and Devlin just had. It was recommended me by quite a few people, so I ended up watching it. I haven't watched NXT UK in months. Very good match. There was a sweet scary balcony spot by Banks where only Devlin was there to catch him. It looked like Banks was on his way to headbutting the ground. Devlin ends up winning via an apron Spanish fly through a table, which was pretty crazy. The match had a grudge match feel to it. Over months build, and hey, it worked. I admit it. Good match. Go NXT UK. Got something positive to say about you. Where do they go from here? I'm not so sure. I will say also from that same show, I finally got to see the true gimmick of Eichner and Axel Dietel Jr. And you could hear the cringe in the crowd with the nines being shouted all the time. The European Union group that they're doing, it's not going over well with the crowd. American crowd seems to like it, but the European crowd is just... the stereotypes aren't doing it. Luckily, they're good wrestlers. Anyways, back to Progress. Tag title match. Swords of Essex, Paul Robinson, Will Ospreay, take it on Aussie Open, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis. 22 minutes, 45 seconds of awesome tag team wrestling. Robinson and Ospreay are just the biggest wankers in Progress Wrestling. There was this sweet kayfabe head injury where Ospreay does a missile drop kick to Fletcher. He did that same move at the Fight Club Pro show. I will note, he did that same thing. Fletcher sold the drop kick head very well. He just, instead of like rolling to the side and just being out of the match for a while, he just goes down, right? And just doesn't move in the middle of the ring until a ref kind of rolls him to the side. It was just a nice little touch. Just a hot match telling the story of the resilient Mark Davis, doing the match by himself for a while, and the comeback of Fletcher when he finally gets back in the match again. It was really hot. Crowd just did not let up this entire time. It ends with Ospreay using a tag belt, get one over on Davis to get the screwy win. I really liked it because I wanted to see a culmination of this. Finally get it at a major chapter show or Super Strong Style 16. Well, did get the screwy finish, and post match, Mark Davis was super pissed. He's like, "No, you aren't going to win that way. I have had something in my back pocket for months now. I'm using my Natural Progression Series title shot." When you win the Natural Progression Series, it's like a King of the Ring tournament. You get a title shot of your choosing. Well, Mark Davis is using this for a shot at the tag titles. And this time, it's going to be a TLC match at Chapter 87 at Bread Knife. Whew. Whew. Someone's going to die in that match. Funny, even Jim Smallman post-match, he's the guy that runs Progress. He even goes, we're gonna try and get a different table supplier than our previous one. Some tables never fucking break in Progress. This really makes the tag titles feel just as important as the heavyweight title within the company. Hell yeah, this is how you do tag team wrestling, boys. That's going to be the main event of Chapter 87. It's going to be nuts. That chapter is going to be so good. Progress Atlas title match. Here you go. Trent Seven taking on Timothy Thatcher. 16 minutes. Important to note, Timothy Thatcher not wearing his ring comp gear in this match. Old Thatcher one. So maybe, back of my mind, maybe there's some Schadenfreude coming here. Because Timothy Thatcher's also cutting promos in WXW like I got to do things on my own now. Ring comp's going on without me. Trent Seven beats Timothy Thatcher here. I was kind of hoping Thatcher would win this personally, but there's a reason for it later. Match goes 16 minutes. I wasn't totally into this match. I thought it was a little too slow, not enough hard hitting. Even though it was hard hitting, it just wasn't enough for it of the taste. Hey, at least we got that tag match. And naturally, the world title match, Walter taking on hard as fuck Chris Ridgway. This went 15 minutes. It was fine. Ridgway looked really good. You can definitely see the improvement of Ridgway. And Walter definitely made Ridgway maybe a little less hard as fuck today, on this day. The ending was a bit strange because it was a kind of a running clothesline by Walter, but Ridgway kind of went off the ropes into it, and that's how it pinned. Like, I get it. I do like it how Walter is booked to win with a number of different moves. This clothesline just didn't go over well. Post-match, Trent Seven comes out, and to prove he can stand on his own without Dunn and Bate, because British Strong Style is no longer a unit, they're all doing their thing in NXT UK without him. He wants to prove he is his own man. He's fucking Trent Seven. Title versus title unification match at Strong Style 16. Hell yeah, there's your reason. Who doesn't want to see that? The next 2 months of Progress Wrestling are looking to be very good. The outlook is quite positive. There you go. Take some water here. Talk, 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 talk. Wonderful. Oh, 2 more segments left, boys. Let's hit this. Let's hit this music. Let's see here. Oh boy. Of Ops can't be. Ah, duh. Why is this even an option? Here we go. Kaze Ninare, boys. Minoru Suzuki in the house. We got New Japan to talk about. They've been busy. They've been busy boys. We got the anniversary show on the first 3 days of the New Japan Cup. Anniversary show was really fun. Just as good as last year's when it was headlined by Ospreay and Okada. This year, we got Taiji Ishimori defending the junior title against Jushin Thunder Liger. Ishimori ends up winning in a real good showing. Match was simple enough, very effective at what it could be. Really thought Liger. I really think Liger should have won this. I really do. Get that title win, go into Madison Square Garden as champion. And what we know as one last run now. Brainbuster on the back on the outside to Ishimori. Ishimori gets that 19.99 count going hard. The fact Liger can still put on a match like this at his age is incredible. Props. Post-match, Ishimori wants his next challenger announced for Madison Square Garden. And who comes out other than Dragon Lee to accept? Hell to the yes. Oh, that's a big-time match. They even cut promos to each other in Spanish in front of a Japanese crowd. It was great. Ishimori had a grin on his face. He's like, yeah, hablo español. And he said it was great. Later, we end up learning that Ring of Honor's Bandito has been added to the match for a triple threat. My God. Oh. Excuse me as I change my pants. Whew. We even later learned that Liger has announced his retirement at the Tokyo Dome. 2020 will be his last match. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely put in the time. I personally would love to see his send-off match, and I've seen a number of people throw this around as well, against Ultimo Dragon, personally. I think that'd be really good. They've both been wrestling a very long time. They're legends of the junior division. That would be a fun send-off match at the Tokyo Dome. There you go. Main event, we get Jay White defeating Will Ospreay, your IWGP Heavyweight Champion, taking on the Never Openweight Champion in a 29-minute classic. Even better than Okada Ospreay from last year. Every single move in this match mattered. It is Jay White has a ring psychology and repertoire to him where everything matters. It is a type of wrestling you don't see a lot these days. And not enough, that's for damn sure. And for how young Jay White is and what he's doing, it's incredible. Ospreay sold the midsection work done by White stupendously. Ospreay is very good at this. He's very good at selling. He's very good at the facial expressions. He's vastly improved his game in those aspects in the last 2 or 3 years. White also manipulated the match to and from the outside, because we all know Jay White lives on the outside, doing the midsection shots, the barricades, the aprons, mid-work. Ospreay was doing his spurts of agility, good babyface comebacks, giving the champion a good run for his money. But what ends up happening is all this midsection is Ospreay can't hit the Stormbreaker. He can't do any of his power moves that he's been utilizing since he's doing more heavyweight stuff in his transition away from junior, even though he's still being considered a junior. Ospreay goes for an Oz cutter because he can't do his heavier moves right now, and it's reversed in midair with a sick Blade Runner. And it was really good. So this goes into a ongoing story that Jay White is so good at scouting his opponents that he can reverse just about any move into a Blade Runner and then get you. That's how he beat Tanahashi, the high fly flow. This is how he beat Ospreay. Really good. Match wasn't overly flashy, but it was goddamn smooth. This is a match that your candidate. I don't, Omega Tanahashi is going to be really hard to beat. But top 5 for sure. This is up there. Highly recommend. On to the New Japan Cup. We got the first 3 days, and things have happened. Things have happened, boys. Day 1, we got Yoshihashi defeating Nakanishi in a surprisingly entertaining match. Nakanishi is slow and old, but at one point Nakanishi does the worst funny awesome plancha ever, where he kind of bails last second and he lands on the apron and then flops on Yoshihashi. It's really funny. He even does a top rope crossbody at one point. Really thought Nakanishi was going to win here for a second. Needless to say, it doesn't happen. Yoshihashi does win. So, and this turned out to be a theme going on, where the New Japan legends all get their long minutes to shine. It's such a better example of legends being booked. And I can compare this to WWE's booking of Kurt Angle currently, where he's like tapping out to his own moves. The guy that did it goes nowhere for months after doing it, so what was even the point? All it does is make the legend look like a weak old man. Well, that didn't happen here. Taichi defeats Honma in 18-plus minute snooze fest. Get it. Honma, was playing a babyface. It's Taichi Honma. I mean, 10 minutes too long in my eyes. Taichi wins. And then we get the upset of the tournament, where it's U.S. champion Juice Robinson loses to Chase fucking Owens. The crown jewel. My God. Fight Chowen's fight. Like, what? I mean, I get it. He was winning like I think he won a couple tag matches, if memory serves, but beating Juice Robinson? Dare we say Chase is getting a push? Do they need the white Gaijin foreigner? I get it. I mean, it gets Juice a challenger, but Chase Owens of all people? It even went 24 minutes and 35 seconds. Right up until the end. Right up until that package pile driver and that 3 count was done, I was like, Juice is just going to kick out every time. Why am I believing this? And then it happened. I was like, what? Chase won? No. And he's probably beating Yoshihashi in the next round. God damn. Bizarro world here. I'm okay with Chase getting a push. It's fine. The point, I think the point at the end of the day is Juice Robinson is very over. A loss here does nothing. He's still going to be over. It's meaningless. It does help Chase Owens, who's done nothing but eat pins for like 3 years. So, the positive outweighs the bad with the Chase Owens. Sure. Poor U.S. title, though. That's for sure. Our main event on day 1 was the amazing hard-hitting affair of the 50-year-old Blue Justice himself, Yuji Nagata. Maybe we'll see him again in WCW when we talk about that in a second, versus Ishii as it goes 21 minutes, 34 seconds. Now, I believe it was a couple years ago in the G1 these two met. And I was thinking about it, and I'm pretty sure this was a carbon copy match of their G1 match from a couple years ago. The difference is Yuji Nagata got his mouth busted open in the match here, and it caused for some extra stank on that drama. You know what I mean? It's just awesome what Nagata can still do when called to arms. You know, go to work. I recommend this one. This one is really good. It's a hard hitting, different style. Everything it meant something, you know. Day 2 of the New Japan Cup was less interesting. It was very straightforward. Mikey Nicholls defeats Hikuleo. Hikuleo's super green, coming back from the knee injury. Still got a lot to learn. Mikey Nicholls has the name value. He's over in Japan. He just lacks charisma. That's his problem. Archer defeats Hanare because Hanare eats pins, and Archer is very big. He's a huge dude. It's deceptive how big this guy is. Archer's massive. He's a... Okada defeats Elgin. Match was good. Excuse me. Yeah. So, Okada Elgin, it was a good match. It just started slow. It came through the last few minutes. They have good chemistry between each other. That's nothing new. As long as Elgin doesn't get limb work done to him, I'm okay with an Elgin match. And the highlight of day 2, in my eyes, was Ospreay gets one over on Bad Luck Fale. So that's great, as the push for Ospreay going into the heavyweight continues, and rightfully so. And this changes a big dynamic of how this New Japan Cup working out, because I was banking on the same thing, where Ospreay goes over Bad Luck. That was kind of a bold choice. This Fale is kind of he's the underbutt, he's the big heavy hitter of Bullet Club, you know, and Ospreay just took a beating a few days before at the hands of Jay White. You know, there was a lot of things going against him. Ospreay did get those kendo sticks in and then rolls up. So this is good. We're gonna get Ospreay versus Archer, and Ospreay should go over there as well. Cool stuff. I really like it. I'd like to see Ospreay get to the finals, personally. I think that's hoping to. I think it's pretty obvious. It's Okada. We'll see. Day 3 was hype as fuck. Taguchi defeats Tenzan, so we get our second junior going over to heavyweight. Really cool. Tenzan just can't fucking move anymore. That's the reason why this was going to happen. He just can't do it. His ankles are thrashed. There was a part of me thinking, you know what? Tanahashi Tenzan, that's a blast from the past. That's some nostalgia. But that's something WWE would do. That's not something New Japan does. Taguchi wins, rightfully so, in my... Tanahashi defeats Shota Umino in a really good 14-minute showing for the Young Lion. I really liked how on the previous day, Umino, during the tag match, was kind of beating on Tanahashi, and the fellow Young Lions had to like pull him off. Really cool. Again, not something you'd see in other promotions. The big ace of the company getting beaten up by a nobody, essentially. Like, pretty cool. It made us care more about the match, and Umino had a very good showing. Zack Sabre Jr. defeats Evil in oh my god I am definitely a Zack Sabre Jr. mark. I love his matches, and there was a part of me that was worried that because Evil got the last victory, Zack always got one over on Evil. I was like, they're not going to 50-50 book this. But then I was thinking, well, Zack's the reigning champ. Why would he lose in the first round? Well, it's New Japan. They don't really care about that kind of stuff. But Zack does win. And the finishing sequence of this match, I had to change my pants twice over. That's how good this ending sequence was. It was just reversal, smooth. Finally, Zack gets Evil in Napalm Death, and Evil taps out. It was hype AF. But was it better than the main event? No, because the main event was Ibushi versus Naito. Basically, if you picked wrong, your bracket's busted for this New Japan Cup. And I'm convinced that whoever was going to win this match is going to win the New Japan Cup. And I picked Ibushi. I wanted Naito to win, but I'm convinced Ibushi going to win, and he did. The match went 20 minutes, and I described this as a fuck your neck match because there was too many moves where your neck was on the line, whether it was a German suplex getting dumped on your neck from both people. Near the end, Ibushi goes for the angel wings and just straight dumps poor Naito on the back of his neck. Kamagoye, Bumaye. We're done here. Ibushi wins. Match was sick awesome. Just, god damn, it making my neck hurt just thinking about it again. So, the three recommended matches from the New Japan Cup so far, first 3 days: Yuji Nagata, Ishii, Zack and Evil, Ibushi, Naito. There you go. The rest of the tournament's looking good. Day 4's got me a little nervous because of that Goto Sonata match. We'll see how that works out. Goto's the New Japan Cup machine. I think he's made the finals in like everyone he's been in except maybe one. I think. But it'd be weird to see every member, all three LIJ members, just not go over out of the first round. So that'd be interesting. We'll see. Davey Boy Smith Jr.'s got Yano. I think we're getting Colt Cabana Yano. I really do. That's a fan match for sure. So New Japan's killing it the past couple weeks. There'll be a lot of New Japan Cup going over in the next episode. Hey, hooray. Okay. That brings us to one last segment. Yes, we do. Alrighty, we have an ongoing contest for our anime fans out there. Leave us a review. You'll be entered to win a High Dive gift card just in time for the upcoming spring anime season. Just leave us a nice little iTunes review, take a screenshot of that shit, send it to me in an email. Email's in the description of every episode. Or just hit us up on Twitter at BowlingJD, Redleaf Retrocast. Use the hashtag Redleaf Retrocast. We'll see it. If you already left us a review, take a screenshot of it. Show me what what you're subscribed to for podcast listening purposes. You'll be entered. Good luck to everybody. Alrighty. It is that time. Our retro time. It is the fallout from WCW Slamboree 1998. We're talking WCW Thunder. It is technically episode 17 that we're on for WCW Thunder. Took place May 21st, 1998. We're approaching the halfway point in our little journey. Kicking back with some WCW nostalgia. Relearning the past to the present. Remembering. So here we go. What is the fallout from Slamboree? That was a good pay-per-view that we covered in the last episode. It was super fun. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of storytelling going on. But how's this Fallout going to do? How are we going to go? All right. We kick things off with Tony Schiavone asking the Giant the question, what to do with Sting, considering Sting's answer to join the Giant with the tag belts that they won at Slamboree. Well, we cut to Nitro. Sting spits in his face. That's his answer. But then you got to note that Kevin Nash came out to save Sting from the Giant beatdown with a lead pipe. I always liked that when they came out with wacky weapons like that. It just wasn't always a chair. Like lead pipes, broomsticks, whatever they could find. I always liked those touches. And it makes sense that Kevin Nash would come out because he was betrayed by Scott Hall during that tag match at Slamboree. So, that's your little Nitro recap after Slamboree. So we get Giant in the ring. Lex Luger comes out to address the Giant. Still trying to convince Sting. When Giant refuses his challenge, Lex challenges him. He's like, stop bringing Sting into this. He doesn't want to. He gave you the answer. Giant's like, nah, I don't need your nonsense. Well, Lex Luger spits in his face. And security, all in time, security and more wrestlers have surrounded the ring. Well, as soon as Lex spits in the face, all the wrestlers like jump in the ring to hold the Giant back. This is the Giant we're talking about. You can't hold the big man back. He throws a fit. He is pissed off. He can't control that giant anger of his. He accepts the match later against Lex Luger. I'm not hating Lex Luger lately. Past couple episodes, when he's coming out and doing his thing, it's very quick to the point. Reminds me of NWA Lex Luger when he was in that U.S. title hunt. I like that Lex Luger. I don't like WCW Lex Luger very much. I definitely didn't like WWF Lex Luger. All right, let's move on. Very cool, fun 10 opening minute segment. Quick to the point. What do we get next? Well, we get a match between Ernest the Cat Williams, simply going by the Cat now, against Yuji Nagata. Hey, he's back, boys. We're only 21 years apart. This match only went 4 minutes in time. However, it was like the most effective 4 minutes you can imagine. Nagata works the legs. Cat does a great job selling. After trying to shoot Cat in the corner, Cat just falls down. Nagata looks at Sonny Ono in the corner. He's laughing. He's proud of his work. Only for Cat to find a burst of energy and a last-ditch effort. Hits Nagata with the jumping disaster kick. Gets the shock win. It was just good work. And then there was a part of me going, I think I've seen this before. And I looked into it. Back in January of 98, on episode 2 of Thunder, these two, in fact, did have a match. It went longer, not as good. Important to note that Ernest the Cat Williams, Williams, it's Miller. Ernest the Cat Miller. Crazy. He's getting better in the ring. He is a product of the WCW Power Plant, their little performance center. He's getting much better. But I think this was only his third appearance on WCW TV. Like non-Saturday night. Everyone kind of showed up on Saturday night. They were in a constant rotation of wrestlers for Saturday nights. So, including Nitro, which I think he only had one appearance for. I hope we see more of the Cat. Big fan of him. He's definitely over with the crowd. We get a recap from Monday Night Nitro. Macho Man confronting Roddy Piper, because he's the commissioner of WCW right now, discussing the shenanigans from the Hart Savage match at Slamboree, announced at Bash of the Beach to make it up to Macho Man. Piper says he will team with Savage, and Hogan convinces Bret Hart not to get in the ring, and they're going to have a tag match, so they're setting that up. And we'll get to more of that later. They only kind of hinted at, so they didn't show us the full video. They kind of split it in half, which we'll get. We cut to Mean Gene Okerlund in the ring. He's interviewing Dean Malenko, right? No, we're not in the ring. I'm sorry. We do have Mean Gene interviewing Dean Malenko. This is at Slamboree that they're showing us on Thunder. This is following the Cruiserweight title match win, and Malenko cuts a fantastic promo regarding Jericho's disrespect. Malenko thinking hard at home of what's going on. It was a good promo. Probably the best one I ever heard from Dean Malenko. Then we cut to Jericho just losing his shit backstage at Slamboree. He's calling for a conspiracy within WCW. He's saying these things can't happen to him. Oh, it was just crazy. Like he was losing his goddamn mind. And selling it well. It's a conspiracy! So we get back, and Jericho's music hits. He's coming to the ring, and he's holding out a fucking sign that says conspiracy victim with an arrow pointing to him. Really funny. He cuts a promo demanding James J. Dillon gives him his title back because Malenko wasn't on the list for the Battle Royal. That's right, Jericho with a list in the ring. Yeah, how do you like that? So, He calls the whole setup a fix, a sham, a conspiracy by the snake oil salesman. That's WCW management. Then he has a quick match, beats Super Kello in easy fashion. Just a great segment. Kello looks like a jobber, unfortunately, but Jericho he just nailed every minute he had in that ring. It's so brilliant. We get Raven coming down to the ring. He's got the Riot Squad with him. He's got the flock ringside. Video package recounts all the fan jumpings on Raven over the past month. So, as I recall, and I really thought this was true, that at the time, the original fan that jumped Raven when he was cutting a promo, sitting down in the corner, what about Raven? I know about DDP's past kind of deal. Or where a fan attacks him and security takes him away. And I do remember that people thought that was a real fan. And there was stories of them taking advantage of a fan and using a story off it. Well, au contraire, I looked further into it. This was planned from the get-go. This was all a work. Because I thought it was a work later. All the other fan jumpings was a work, not this original. The original one was also a work. So, first, so we get the recap of all the fans beating up Raven, getting one over on him, including what happened at Slamboree with the Mortis reveal and the beatdown of Raven, that wicked chair shot. So Raven first calls out Saturn to address the flying solo routine over the flock. Because as we know, Saturn said, "I'll take care of Goldberg on our own. I'll win the U.S. title. I don't care about the flock." So Saturn tells Raven to his face that he's not one of his mindless flock followers, but his friend. Don't boss me around anymore. And you're drunk with power, Raven. Raven simply goes, "You know what? You're right. I admit it. I was wrong. I apologize." Saturn leaves. Moving on. I was like, "Oh, that's cool. All right." Not the usual booking that we see today, where it's like, "Oh no, they're gonna have a match right away," kind of deal, instant fallout. What? So that was cool. Raven then addresses to call out Mortis, right? He's like, "I know you're here. The flock has spotted you in the audience with that dumb rainbow wig. Come on out here. Come to the ring." So a big dude starts walking down the entryway. He's got the bandana on, the goatee going. So he starts walking down. And as he gets closer, Raven's kind of baiting him. Then he tells the Riot Squad and the flock to get him. Then a fan from behind throws a sign in the ring and gives Raven Mortis's finisher, the reverse Russian leg sweep, the complete shot, however you want to call it, and then bolts to the back after. Like, he just sprints hard. And so then I believe it's Kidman who holds up the sign. And the sign says, "Anytime, anywhere, anyone." Friggin' love all this. It's so good. How they're making this like mid-card, undercard jobber storyline into main Raven jumping the flock, fans. You don't know who's who coming in. Oh, that's good. That's good storytelling. I do want to note that Lodi is back from injury. And he's got his brilliant signs. So, the one in this segment, we'll get to more Lodi signs later. Oh, they're so good. This one says, "Flock versus the Bulls, we win." 1998, no less. So, that was the year where, I believe that was the same year that the Bulls only lost like 7 games or some shit. So that was good. All right, TV title on the line here. Finlay defeats Jim Neidhart in decent enough quick match. That's not where we're focusing here. What matters is what happens post match, and it's announced that Booker T has been chosen by the committee, the management committee, champion committee, that he's the #1 contender. And as they're announcing this, Benoit actually comes out instead of Booker T because he ain't having it. He not having it, boys. That Canadian crippler wants it over Booker T. That's not fair. So he wants answers, right? He wants answers in the champion committee. They can't give it to him. Booker T then comes out and says, basically, too bad. They gave it to me. Why don't you just go to the back? So Benoit turns around, and as Booker T turns his back to him, Benoit jumps from behind, starts beating him up. This causes Stevie Ray, Booker T's Harlem Heat partner, to save him. And this leads to some interesting lines. Stevie Ray then calls out Booker T for being a punk. You let yourself get hit from behind? Remember your roots in Harlem. You can't do that. You gotta fight this chump. Don't back down. I love it. Makes sense. You can't have a babyface look like a geek loser. Admit you're stupid in this moment. Fight him. Get your swag back. If you lose, well then goes down differently, right? Than you being booked. You gotta stand up for yourself, kind of deal. Looks better. Way better on the surface. So Brian Adams with Vincent versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Crowd fucking loves Duggan. We covered him on a Spotlight episode in the past. I mean, it was fine, I guess. Adam gets a quick DQ. He throws the ref out of the way. Duggan fights back, stands tall at the 2x4. Not much else there. We get a recap. Here we go. Here's the second half recap of the Macho Man, Rowdy Piper, Hart. So Bret Hart is upset on Nitro when Piper reverses the Slamboree decision. So it takes his win away. And Bret Hart's like, you can't do that. You can't take my win away. I won it in the ring. Then that's when Hogan comes out. We get a segment with Hogan introducing Scott Hall to NWO Hollywood. So we're now calling the black and white NWO of Hogan's NWO Hollywood, the red and black of Macho Man and Kevin Nash, the NWO Wolfpack. So we're getting these names together finally. It's all coming together. It took a couple weeks. So former Flock member and Ball of Tall Fit Energy Hammer is facing off against Saturn here. Match was okay. It was fine. Hammer was winning until Reese distracts the ref. Reese is this goofy looking Goonies level, not all there kind of guy. He's got a weird body to him. He distracts the ref. Raven hits the ring, even flow DDT. Saturn's upset that Raven's helping him win. Do this on my own. Raven's like, I don't think you can. Well, Saturn then picks him up, hits the Death Valley Driver for the win. Interesting dynamic here. What's developing? So it's like a slow burn of the Saturn Raven fallout rather than just straight up falling out, right away. This is okay because you still got plenty of members of the flock. Get some TV time here, as long as they don't overdo it and make it run too long, kind of deal. Well, we get Rick Rude in the ring, and he introduces the next U.S. champion, Kurt Hennig. They cut a promo calling out 89-0 U.S. champ Goldberg. They call him out at the Great American Bash for that to be a match. Hype. That should be good. Hennig was wearing an NWO Wolfpack shirt, so something must have happened on Nitro that commentary failed to mention. They cut a good promo. It was effective. Call out Goldberg. They're like, no, don't come out. Even though he's not at Thunder, don't come out. We'll get you at Great American Bash. It's kind of funny. Juventud Guerrera gets to the ring versus Flock member Horace. Horace is this big bald dude with a leather jacket. He's like standard dude 101. He's perfect for the Flock to mean nothing. Lodi's got a ring sign though, because that's what matters here in WCW Thunder. It says Raven made Seinfeld quit. On point as usual, Lodi. I love it. He even gets another sign that says Lodi's back, Thunder quality up. Hey, can't argue with that. Hoovy tries in this match, but eventually we get another Reese interference. Just wipes out Hoovy hard. Horace gets the win, so I guess Hoovy the babyface. Whatever. Juventud, he took an unfortunate wipe out there. We get a fun promo from Macho Man saying, honor among thieves. Whatever is whatever during the match, but the madness is here after the match too. So he tells it straight to Piper. He's like, I'll be your partner at Bash of the Beach, but as soon as that's over, it's anything goes. The whole, we're not friends anymore kind of deal. I kind of like the acknowledgement of it all. They want their revenge on Bret Hart, and who's Bret Hart with now? Hollywood. We get what's probably my favorite segment of this episode of Thunder. Is it? No, it was definitely the Jericho one, the conspiracy victim. That was the best. But Chavo and Eddie dynamic, they come out, and as we recall from Slamboree in the match versus Ultimo Dragon, Chavo kind of lost it. Like, Eddie had to pull him off. So it appears we have a change of attitude as Chavo is embracing Eddie. All to Eddie's confusion. He's like, what's going on here? So now it's before Eddie can speak, Chavo's like warming up, and he's like, yeah, I get it. You're giving me the match? All right, Eddie, come on here. I got a match to win. This is against Dean Malenko for the Cruiserweight title. Chavo's got some fire in him, too. Well, despite this fire, Chavo still loses. Eddie Guerrero gets in the ring. He talks some shit to him, talking down. He slaps him real hard. And Chavo gets in his face, so Eddie gets on his knees. And he's like, yeah, hit me right here. Hit me in the left cheek real hard, You can kind of see him doing that. Crowd wants him to hit him so bad. Well, Chavo kisses him instead. You get a quick awe from the crowd, just like boo. And then within a second, he heavily punches Eddie Guerrero. And the crowd pops hard. And commentary, I love commentary on this. Has Eddie created a monster? Look at Chavo Guerrero. Ah. Pretty good. Love it. It was good. It's been a month, 2 months build of this Chavo Eddie thing, and Chavo finally snapped. Let's hook. Kind of played it off on the one night. It's like, I'm gonna trick Eddie and get one good shot in. So here we go, main event time. The Giant versus Lex Luger. And if you look at your clocks, people, there's only like 4 minutes left in the show. Yeah, we know how this. We can already see it coming. It goes for all of 90 seconds before a fake-looking Sting with NWO Hollywood gear hits the ring. And DQ finish, of course. Fake Sting is interesting. I do remember fake Sting. But another Thunder main event. Another one where the fans throw trash in the ring. Another NWO bullshit thing. Like, the crowd is just, I'm seeing more fans, like, when it gets to the main event, they just walk out. I was seeing that in the audience in the back. I was kind of paying attention to everything. So throwing trash might be a WCW thing, but it's not a good thing, because they don't do it on shows that end well, right? They only do it on every time they've seen this stupid finish. So, where's Fake Sting gonna go? Well, you're gonna have to tune in for the next episode. As we're closing this out, we got wrestler rankings to go through right fast. The top 15 men from the past 2 weeks, and the top 10 women. So, let's do the women right fast. 10, Mika Iwata, Sendai Girl. 9, Chihiro Hashimoto, Sendai Girl. 8, Millie McKenzie, she put in the work. 7, Bea Priestley, she put in the work, both in Progress and Stardom. 6, Mayu Iwatani, that selling knee machine. 5, Andres Miyagi, oh my god, she's being booked so well, she's got that good look, looking strong. 3, Sarie, damn right, she was just a workhorse in that tag match, that was beautiful. 30-minute tag match and she was the workhorse, hell yeah. And then 2 and 1 should be no surprise. 2, Jungle Kiona. 1, Momo Watanabe. Momo's just running away with this women's rankings table right now. Start the year off. We're 3 months in, and she is by herself at the top. Jungle Kiona's trying to keep up best she can. All right. The men's 15, Michael Finn, the Danish champion. 14, Jordan Devlin. Hey, he did good. 13, Ishii. Love that Nagata match. 12, Travis Banks. He gets the edge over Devlin because he also, like, they both in the same 2 matches. and Banks got the more story involved with the new group in progress. So funny how I watched Fight Club Pro, their teammates. Progress, Devlin's the babyface, Banks is the heel, and then NXT UK, Devlin's the heel and Banks is the face. 3 different dynamics there. Anyways, 11, Jimmy fucking Havoc. He won that Fight Club Pro death match. Big pop return. Oh, beautiful. 10, UT for that tag match. Brilliant performance in Dragon Gate. 9, Taiji Ishimori. Oh, just the Liger, baby. 8, Pac. Second defense in Dragon Gate. Good. 7, El Phantasmo. Lots of good matches. Light heavyweight World Cup champion now. 6, Tetsuya Naito. 5, Aussie Open. Putting in all the work there. 4, K-Ness. I told you I loved what I saw out of the... 3, Kota Ibushi. Obvious reasons. 2, Will Ospreay, and 1, Jay White. And the reason why Will Ospreay put in more work and he had the better overall. But what matters right now is how good Jay White did in a performance, in just the single performance, and of that caliber, how good it all was. That's why he's 1 point ahead, Will Ospreay. So, crazy stuff in the rankings. That brings the top of the table basically unchanged with Tanahashi, Ospreay, and White. Just 1, 2, 3 respectively. People need to catch up, man. People need to catch up. So, that brings us a conclusion to this episode today. Please, if you want to join a retro gaming community, I recommend the partner of the Red Leaf Retrocast, Retro Twitch. Go hit them up on Twitter for the Discord access. Really fun community, lots of streamers, lots of things to do. Everyone's all nice people from all over the world. And naturally, also go check out Anime Radicals, the conglomeration podcast network of all kinds of anime casts coming together and putting out some good content that we can't do on our own podcast. This has been Red Leaf Retrocast. What a nice little solo episode. Episode 26. Start the cup with Eskeewd beef, baby. And we'll see you next time.